here about this choice. And, well, Zeus back, okay. That's what we were expecting. Yes, that they are, Boyd. Okay, so let's see if the game is going to be fine just now. Right now, looking already at more. Who is coming for the standard build-up? For, of course, getting for the stragglers right next to the TC, which is something that you do on the original maps because, of course, those trees are a whole lot closer, you can see, and that means that you are going to be efficient with them and you don't really need to wait. This is wrong. He's already wrong on the build-up. On the build order. This is not how you should be done. You should be keeping those two on the stragglers because you are going to be needed a lot of wood for the fishing boat. So he's already having a kind of weird build order. But let's see, maybe it's going to be working out for him anyway. And we're going to be switching onto the other side on Joe. And well, so far he seems to be alright. He's having some boars right next to his home base, so that's kind of alright. He didn't probably need to bother with building the granary. Could have lured it a bit closer and could have been fine, but still, he is not having all that much of a food left. Just the Orok in here, but at least a few piggies at the top, which should be quite alright for him for the early start of the game. In the meantime, of course, more already scouting next to his opponent, already finding the front TC that is nicely hidden in there. Kind of guarded by the wood lines and even the berries in there, and even the bear. But still, there's a gold nearby, which is of course quite a nice bonus. And curiously enough, it's one of the few golds that actually Joe is going to be having available. So he's going to be forced into the right side anyway for this gold, and to basically continue with the gold mines on the right side of the map. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that's going to be the progress of the game for them, as we are going to be getting into the later stages after actually the water fights are going to be gone. Or rather, if they're going to be done, because they can take quite some time in here. At any rate, I'm fully expecting faster heroic from the Isis. I don't really expect that she's going to be sticking to the classical fighting all that much, especially because you don't have the shooting dogs in vanilla. So that's of course a whole lot of difference from the Titans gameplay. You cannot really spam dogs and hope that it's going to be enough. That's not really going to be working. So I'm kind of curious if actually Joe is going to be realizing that and deviating his build order from that. Curious, really curious indeed. Right now already switching into woodline, into berries in there. Interesting, we may be expecting that he might be wanting to go for the piggies, but he apparently isn't, and mining camp for the gold, yeah, that's going to be just as expected. He's having almost 6 on wood, a few on food. That's going to be about 4 of them. Already 7 of them. It's quite a lot in this early in the game. This is definitely unusual build order for water, not the usual one that you would be having. So let's see how it's going to be working for more. Unfortunately, we cannot really check the resources for them. But yeah, we're going to be hoping that it's going to be enough. Potentially a bit of a steal of piggies. Ah yeah, it's going to be exactly happening. So a bit of a problem for more. But he still should be having somewhere the Kataskopos. He's actually somewhere already coming back or not? I don't see him as he's building a temple. Ah, he's at the bottom. And that's actually a bit of an issue because, of course, right now, through the lucky strolling of all this priest, he's going to be stealing all these piggies for his side, and that's going to be a pretty good bonus for him. And especially it's important because the Zeus is not going to get it, and the piggies are a bit more important for him than for the Egyptian. We are at 3.5 minutes. Temple being slowly dropped down by Joe, so More is apparently going for a bit more standard build-up. Probably a bit of a classical fight. He's going to be advancing at about 450, if he's going to be advancing just now. And well, let's wait if this villager is going to be continuing praying, or if he's going to be switching into houses, which he should be. But if he is actually going to be continuing praying in there, and it's not a mistake, he could be really heading into the faster heroic. Let's see. Let's see about that. In the meantime, though, he's continuing with a lot of woodlines, so that basically just tells us that he's classical fighting. There is not going to be anything else to be had for him. Not any upgrades yet, but they should be really coming as fast as as soon as he advances into the next age. And we are already looking at the docks being placed at everywhere around the map for Joe. And well, so far, just second being built for more. So definitely curious what's gonna happen now, as Kataskopos is stealing all the piggies back. And that's nice right now, reaction by AoM Joe to actually protect them. But I'm kind of thinking that this priest is going to be stealing them back, at least a few of those. as the priest should be a bit stronger than the Kataskopos, and well, Kataskopos should be happier just running away, because of course, unless he advances into the next age, in which he gets slightly better attack, if I'm not confusing it with Age of Empires, which I'm streaming quite often. Yeah, I am. And because in Age of Empires, actually, the early scout does get the bonus once he advances into the second age, but not so with Kataskopos, and the priest still should be able to handle him quite alright. So plenty of piggies around the town center for Joe, as we are waiting for him to advance, as already there was an advance from Moore, and well, right now bust. And let's see if we are going to be seeing plenty of cabinets to fight against the trireme, as they are going to be coming out of the docks of Moore. And they are already in and going to be harassing the... Yes, unfortunately for you, there is not going to be any shooting from the docks. So you just need to basically deposit them, and that's going to be it. Not any kind of shenanigans with hiding and depositing from the docks, because it's not going to be useful at all. That's why I was exactly thinking that basically spamming the docks is not such a clever idea from the ISIS. It basically doesn't serve all that much of a purpose. And if he's coming for the faster heroic, which through the prosperity he most probably is, and with the armory confirming that, yeah, well, it's going to be up to him. But without the free Leviathan, it's still not going to be that easy to recapture the water. So maybe he should have just committed to do classical fighting on the water, but he probably didn't want to because of the restoration that is most inevitably coming up with a full swing of about 6 seconds of working, which is quite a long time. Is it actually 6 or 8? 7. Okay, so exactly in between, not 6, not 8, it's 7. Alright, so that's that. As are we looking at some signs of heroic age from more? Probably not. We don't see really any kind of armory coming up anywhere, as the villages are coming where actually? I'm not sure. Probably for another dock about here for better efficiency for those spots. And well, yeah, those 3 are just going to be getting rid of everything in there, and it's going to be up to Joe to hopefully get something up, get his leg up once he advances into heroic through the siege boats. In the meantime, let's check some upgrades. For example, pickaxe for the Egyptian, and for the Greek we are having what? Pickaxe and hand axe both. Alright, and Nephthys is through at 7. Wow, 7 minutes, that's not bad. But of course we are on water, so we are having a bit of a push into the back through the water, as Pulsane is already researched in there for champion, and we are also looking at him walling up, as he's probably preparing for some shenanigans from potentially even some chariot archers, which is something that is definitely gonna happen. But yeah, he does have a lot of wood lines still left, so he doesn't need to worry about opening himself up at the top side all that much. So bolt being invoked into a bolt. That's definitely what happened in there, as the siege war barges are already up and in pretty decent numbers. So let's see how the defense is gonna go for more, because of course he's still not advancing either. Rather not advancing yet. He's right now just dropping armor, and this is going to be a pretty powerful power spike, of course, for Joe, because there's absolutely no way that Moore is going to be able to defend against that, because not only the dogs do not shoot, but of course those 3 RMS are going to be completely useless against their counter unit to those guys. So Ancestors into the economy. Unfortunately, I've already seen Odysseus. It's going to be a question. Jason is there as well, so unfortunately this is not going to be working at all. So good idea, but unfortunately not effective. Right about now, all he can do is basically just deploy all the Ancestors into gold and hope for the best, because he's not going to be able to kill the heroes, and he's going to be dying pretty soon. So at least 1 villager dead. Going to be about maybe 2, 3. He's going to be killing. Maybe plays it correctly as the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. That's actually pretty decent. 5th. 6th. 6 villages is actually pretty good. It's actually very, very good. I was expecting that it would be much worse, but Joe played this very nicely, even against those 2 heroes, and that means that 6 villages down, that significant amount of downtime on the economy, and overall, of course, since he has lost the water pretty much, there's not going to be any kind of coming back for him, because of losing all the docks and whatnot. This is a pretty good map, and right now, advance for Joe, because he's already coming for the 2nd TC, exactly where we expected, without empowerment. As you can see, yeah, just now noticing that problem for him, and he's going to be aiming for the gold, and he does have extra golds at the bottom sides. Right now, Mori is going to be seeing what's happening with the TC, but there's nothing that he can do. There's absolutely nothing that he can do about it, and the advantage is just going to be getting stronger and stronger right now for Joe, and More is definitely right now going to be staring into the dark mouth of... Yeah, well, I'm close to say defeat, but let's not be that hasty, because he should be advancing at least into Heroic Age through Dionysus right about now. But of course, without any kind of power over the water, he doesn't even have... Ah, he does have dogs, sorry. He has been rebuilding diligently at the bottom, but I'm kinda curious if he has enough gold, and much more importantly, he doesn't have favor. He most definitely doesn't have favor, because he wasn't gathering from that. So he potentially has for about 1 skilla. Yeah, for 1 skilla, and that's going to be it. He doesn't have anything more, but he probably does have enough resources for all the Pentacounters, who are going to be a bit of a, of course, problem for the batch, and even just the 1 skilla is going to be good enough to defend against the potential cabinets. It might be coming a bit later. So even though Joe was playing this quite nicely, he probably is right now going to be heading into a bit of an issue, as Ranep is gonna die. Yeah, a bit of a Willy fight is going to be needed. But I think at this point he can basically abandon that and just go for finishing the Migdol. But without the Pharaoh in place, it's going to be taking quite some time. Yeah, goodbye Jason, goodbye villager as well. Right now you just need to abandon this. Send like 2 villagers after him and the rest just continue. Yeah, that's no point. But right now he's falling back, thinking that he will have to rebuild next to his town center, just to be a bit safer. So it's not a bad decision, but he definitely could have finished with the one at the bottom, and potentially could have been a bit better. In the meantime, the full-on water battle is just now happening, with bronze coming up on not enough boats, really. You can see the amount of boaties right now quite a lot bigger for Joe, as he's coming... More is coming for restoration quite a lot later. I think this shouldn't have been retreat from Joe. There were just a few boats, there wasn't really much of a reason for that. And since the dogs don't shoot, there's no point of actually disengaging from this. But he's also looking at a difficult situation. Because the skillas are finally coming up in some decent numbers. I'm kind of thinking that you should be having a bit more quite soon, because the 4 villages should be supplying enough favor for them, and the heads are coming up, and the battle is going to be quite interesting right now, because still units are very much alive for champion, okay, more rather, whereas for Joe there are quite significant losses in here. But the unit composition seems to be alright, so it's going to be just a question of time before he finally gets rid of the skillas through the Remingalays, and then well. Another skilla in here. I was kind of thinking that actually Joe might be coming back into the fight, but apparently not. The skillas are most probably going to be winning the battle or more, which is of course pretty huge thing, because he has been able in the meantime to at least think about getting the second TC himself, and he's already preparing the stables so that he can raid with Hippicons a bit later in the game. And not really all that later. It's going to be coming up pretty soon, I think. And Boyd, you are definitely right. Favor is gathered slower in the vanilla. Yeah, there were tweaks in Titans, so you are definitely right about that. And that the favor gathering rate is faster in Titans. So in here, it's slightly more challenging to actually get the skills up, but still, Moore was able to manage that quite fine, and he's even managing to have an idol in here, but he cannot really heal it. Yeah, it's just going to be standing there, so there's no point in actually keeping it hidden. You can just use it against buildings, it's going to be effective against those. Yeah, just use it there. Yeah, it's going to be working quite fine in that regard, and it's almost looking like that actually Joe is giving up on the water, going for the 30C himself, and then finally establishing himself at the bottom. And I'm kind of thinking that the Migdol is finally going to be standing there pretty soon, but we also need to be careful, or rather he needs to be careful about the fact that his opponent is right now controlling the shoreline, which means that he's going to be shooting at this Migdol in no time. And TC not, that's too far away. But still, he should be probably building the Migdol a bit more to the bottom and not next to the water, so that it isn't susceptible to a potential attack from the waters. Okay, so... Right now the tree line is kinda sucky for more, because of course it means that this water, or rather this position, is going to be a much more accessible for Joe than for him. So potentially there's an advantage to be had for the red player. He's already moving there with the Migdol, which I think is a pretty clever idea. And with the elephant in there and the few camels and mainly the chariot archers, this is an army that of course More is going to be having issues dealing with. Luckily for him, all the town centers are basically too far away from the water to be targeted from it. So basically conquering the water is not going to be that much of a huge victory. 4 more. A bit of a walling coming up, not really going to be effective all that much, as we are looking also at the walling from More, who is still at least continue with the piggies and getting up with all those tables to go for Hippicon Raiden. In the meantime, what we have to look at is gold, because this is the last gold for More that is in the vicinity of his base. Then there are only the gold mines at the top. That's a nice trio actually for him. And it's potentially going to be not that easy to defend, and Joe might be taking advantage of that, but he's fully concentrating at the bottom, rather on the bottom, with the 3 gold mines in there, and I'm kind of thinking he's not having all that much of a thoughts about the top side of the map, as he is gathering a 4th TC already. So, good army already.
Yes.
Yeah, those double walls in there. Well, he should be probably upgrading them at this stage, if he wants to actually make something significant of them. Yeah, it would definitely be worthwhile at this stage, but they are quite expensive, the upgrades are quite expensive. They cost a lot of food, which I think should be in pretty good supply right about now for More. And he should be most probably destroying a few of those skillas and even the siege barges, because they are taking so much population limit for him that he really needs to lose it somehow. And he had the skill of it, just now dying. 5 heads, nice, but unfortunately it's her time to go to the bottom of the sea and leave space for some useful units for the fighting on the land. So how is it gonna go here? Well, already they are through the walls, so finishing these walls is not going to be that effective. With the Migdol finished and the town center is in place, it seems like the economy is going to be getting a whole lot better for Joe, but you can see that More is winning on score quite significantly, which is basically because of the water fight where he gained a lot of points, and he's also having quite a significant economy boost from that. He's already having Salt Amphora apparently, yes he has. And looking for example at some other economy upgrades, how's it looking here? And Dax Pickaxe for the blue player and for the red. You can see Husbandry even on the piggy. And Dax and Shaft Mine at least. Okay, that's much better. Together with Plow. But he needs to switch into farms, of course, because he doesn't have access to the water anymore. Scorpion Man trying to get rid of the Pentagon there and even the Skilla. But at this point, it will be basic advantages for him to keep More having the Skillas. Because the Skillas, they are 5 population limit, and that's 10 population limit overall. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot that actually rather More champion is going to be missing, especially compounded with the fact that he's at 2 TCs, whereas his opponent is at 4. Mythical Age as expected, with the build up in there overall, so let's see how he's going to be able to actually deal with this. At this point I kinda think it might have been a better choice to actually go for Hera, not only for the Lightning Storm, but because of the Medusas against Elephants. If the elephants are actually going to be made, so far it's just a lot of chariots, which are going to be countered nicely by Peltasts, if we micros it properly. But yeah, let's see how effectiveness is going to be coming into play, because we mustn't forget, the same as Skillas are a bit more expensive in vanilla, so are actually the Colossus and the Colossi overall. And of course you don't have the free one after the advance. How actually much they cost? 340. 40 favor. That's the biggest thing. 40 favor. That's a huge issue. That's a huge issue for him, and it's going to be very hard for him to make this work for him all that much. He's going to be sending a ton of villages on Brain, he is, but still, the 40, that's a lot. That's a lot. Still, that could be a pretty good opportunity for Joe to actually gold starve him. You can see that he's starting actually trade from the top, and he's already having villies in there on the gold as well. So this is a bit of a problem for More Brewing, which he is unaware of completely. He has basically just been walling off, but he doesn't know about all those fillies and whatnot. And if Joe puts a Migdol down here, or even just go aggressively on the gold right off the bat, he could be gold starving More very easily. And it might be just game over right there. Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake right now from Joe. He should just still keep... He should be keeping the skill alive for the reason before. 5 population limit wasted for More. as the fortress is attempted to be finished. And that's another perk that has been changed, because in the original game, in vanilla, you can build myrmidons only through fortress, not built in from military academy, so you need the fortresses to actually spam the myrmidons if you want to be effective with those. Son of Osiris coming up, and that was a mistake from Moore, of course. He used the bolt a whole lot earlier, but in the vanilla you can just one-shot Son of Osiris like that. Yeah, that didn't have to be a problem, but Moore didn't think about this all that much, and he lost that opportunity, and that means that right now he will have to fight just by his own, rather on his own, against this powerful demigod. Well, medium Hippicon, that's at least some upgrades coming up, as Colossus #1 is finally coming into play as well, with some extra elephants. Even more balls coming up. 45 TC for Joe, so even more population limit advantage for him. Son of Osiris, yeah, well, careful about this, but he's at least trying to get back on the water, so potentially that is something to be had for him a bit later. Yeah, there was apparently idea about the Migdol, it seems like, for Joe. Needs to be paying a bit more attention in there, as archery range is coming up, military academy as well, and mining camp, yeah, well, that's not good enough. He's probably gonna try to kill the villager. And hope that it's going to be enough. Well, for the moment, yes. But there are still plenty more to come. In the meantime, Migdol at the bottom is gone, with just 2 times Petrobolas up, and that's not going to be enough. Yeah, because even some mercenaries are going to be able to stop that if the wall wasn't there, though. Right now they have to go all the way around, and Son of Osiris could definitely be helping in the battle against those 2 dudes. Yeah, shoot at those. Come on. And be careful about the medium Hippicons, of course. Bronze, copper. That's a good upgrade. Good upgrades in there for the opponent, nothing. So Joe should be really working on that. And he really needs to keep the Son of Osiris alive, because it's his biggest weapon against all those Colossi. You can see how fast they are eating him. Rather, he is eating them. About 150 damage. About 150 damage by Son of Osiris into them. That's pretty good. And makes all of those quite inefficient indeed. Yeah, need to be careful. And finally some bigger presence for Joe on the water. You can see that he's right now at least getting rid of the rest of the water economy. And it's probably going to be a bit of an issue on top of everything else for Moore, because he's going to be losing the food that is very important for all those prodromos that are getting their gameplay time against all of those elephants. Unfortunately for them, the combination of chariot archers and elephants is a whole lot better, because the prodromi are having very weak defense and overall hit points against ranged attacks. So that's of course a bit of an issue for them, as siege works are going to be coming up for potentially even some catapults, I would be expecting, as at the top we are looking at a few Hippaspis getting rid of the villagers from Joe that were trying to set up themselves next to gold. But yeah, he definitely should have gone for either towers, as he's right now attempting, or just downright the Migdol. Yeah, Migdol already coming up in a bit safer situation in there on the left. So it seems like that this point of the map is not going to be safe for Moore anymore. Anyway, and well, siege works coming up, Son of Osiris still very much alive, and elephants getting heavy. They are getting heavy finally, and chariots also heavy, so it seems like the upgrades are finally coming up for Joe as well. Okay, so even more military academies coming up. I'm not exactly sure what he wants to make, probably the hoplites. Well, but he doesn't have the upgrades for them, does he? He's having just normal still. Now some colossi are still coming up. A few idols in there with Bellerophon just chilling next to the town center. And well, the attack is really getting quite stronger. And looking at overall the advantage of just the population limit, it's really looking pretty tough for Moore to somehow come back from this game, especially since he is going to be losing the water, because he was attempting to probably actually have some transport with Colossi, I'm thinking, on the base of his opponent. That's actually a nice idea. But yeah, it's not going to be working out, because unfortunately Joe was paying enough attention on the water, and he is going to be able to stop that. Cue that Elise. Yeah, well, it's actually quite costly at this stage. With the catapults, I think they are going to be the last and the deciding nail in the coffin, because I don't expect that Joe is going to be letting this game up at this point. It's looking too good for him. to go. TC even getting blacksmith upgrades, copper weapons in there, or other armory upgrades. With medium Prodromos, even though he's all iron, which is going to be because of Forge of Olympus, most definitely, it's still not really going to be enough to stall all of this. But right now, there's pretty good chance for more to actually push forward from the top side, as he's having still a lot of gold in there. And if he can stop the trade, that could be a bit of a problem for Joe, unless he's establishing himself at the bottom already, which he is. Yes, we are already looking there, but he still does have extra gold, so still not that much of a problem for him. If he loses this position, it could be much more of a problem from the point of view that he's going to be allowing more to actually continue be a presence in the game. He's basically going to be giving him a chance to still be important. You can see already the trade gone, rather the market gone, and well, this is not a bad choice. This is not a bad choice by more, but unfortunately it's not going to be giving him extra population limit, which is something that he needs much more than anything else. And Migdol attempted to be built, which probably should be finished. Come on, finish it. Yes, Son of Osiris helping with that. So that is of course going to be helping against all those boats. And the waters should be really right now secure for I Am Joe, even though they're still going to be attended by more to fight for it yet again. At least the fortress is gone through the catapults. That's at least a bit of a good news for Joe. And quite curiously, you can see that More is still winning on the score by about 300 points, which is something that you wouldn't really expect for the prolonged fight that we are having here on 4 versus 2 TCs. But yeah, well, that's how Zeus is actually strong, and how far he can, rather how long he can actually fight against even a much better setup opponent. But still, without getting some proper upgrades into hoplites, it's probably not going to be working all that much, because he should be really facing a tough situation with the gold very soon, as this one is going to be running out reasonably soon, just 1300 left, and this one is going to be contested all the time, and not really all that easy to get it from for the blue player all that much. But still, Petrobola is still kinda alive-ish, getting rid of the Migdols, but they are going to be rebuilt with the siege works at the back in no time. In the meantime, right now it seems like that Hannibal has found his way into Rome, with all the elephants, getting some upgrades, bronze weapons and copper shields already, and they are still going to, or rather they are going to be moving forward and trying to disrupt at least the towers, which is a good idea by More, because if he does have enough upgrades, especially crenellations, which he so far apparently doesn't have. Yeah, that was nice finishing. Crenellations would be quite a significant advantage for him against all those elites if he was able to place enough towers that he is definitely aiming to do, especially with the fortress right now dropping. He just might be seen even a few myrmidons from there. Right now going to be countering with a few towers of his own Joan apparently, and this is really getting kind of scary for him More, because there is nowhere to go back to. He can just go back to the last DC in there in the back, but of course just one TC, this is just going to be pretty much it. This is just going to be it pretty soon, even though it's still going to be taking a bit of time. Come on, crenellations. Double damage to cavalry, including elephants, that's what you need to do. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if More is having enough resources even for that kind of upgrade. At any rate, of course, Bellerophon is still going to be helping at least a bit with the catapults. Medium Hippicons in there, TC gonna go down about now. And that's a huge issue, because that was a lot of extra damage dished out, and of course, that is going to be missing, and the elephants are going to be all that much more durable in this part of the game. So Son of Osiris probably found his spear with Bellerophon and the Hippicon, who died as well at the same time, as we are going to be quickly switching onto the top side, where the walls have been breached, not really that fully, but Helipoli are going to be a bit of an issue, as they are very strong against not only buildings, but not that against units either, as the siege boats, royal war barges, nicely upgraded, are trying to get rid of the fortress that is defending the last gold mine that is available for More Champion. Yep, that's that on the top side, whereas at the bottom the TC is probably going to be attempted to be rebuilt, but don't really see many chances of that, because of course, even though silver colossi are up, finally some upgrade coming up, and the towers are also being present, still the hole is just gonna be getting deeper and deeper as far as the population limit goes. It's just not going to be working all that much. Economy upgrades, Baccanalia, Carpenter's Plow and Quarry. Or the red player. Yeah, pretty much all of them. Not really kind of problem with that, as the towers are still coming up, but priests are going to be needed, because Son of Osiris is not here anymore, and his 150 damage per one hit on the mythical unit is definitely missing here. You can see how much longer it is taking to take down the Silver Colossus. And there's already one waiting, and another one is most probably being built in the meantime. Still Fortress present. Epicons, well, not really present all that much either. Right now there's a lot of army actually at the top, so it seems like there's a bit of a push by More to actually get through the walls and get into the opponent's base and onto this TC, which is not a bad idea, because if he can get on this TC and even capture it for himself, as he's just now trying to capture the one in the middle of his base, as catapults are definitely missing. And Joe should be coming through the right, clean the fortress, and annoy the town center from that side of the map. That's something that he definitely needs to do. And well, Colossi trying to get away, maybe even heal themselves. But yeah, they're not going to be allowed to do that all that much. Kind of found Hero trying to basically get rid of the TC, or at least slow it down. Still no crenellations. Still no crenellations as we're coming back to the top, where, of course, cavalry mercenaries are doing what they can in getting rid of the Helepoli, which are pretty strong with 682 hit points, and that they are very tough to take down. But it's almost looking like that actually there are going to be Colossi coming up into this part of the map pretty soon. One boat. Is there something hidden somewhere? Not really, just some extra barges to get rid of all of these fortresses and temples. With one Helepoli almost dead coming into the base, yeah, that's going to be there just through the fire. Not really that much of a problem, even with the help of the extra villagers. And apparently, finally, exactly what we thought should happen happened. Fortress is gone, and the attack through the right side from the siege works killed the fortress, and of course is right now going to be annoying for the town center as well. So this town center is most probably not going to be coming up anytime soon, as even though the fortress is, we are looking at right proper tower spam from the left. We should be probably seeing a few more extra upgrades. We are bronze mail, iron weapons already, so yeah, the situation is getting really more desperate by the minute for more. And even though he's fighting very nicely, finally gold Colossi, well, he has found resources for that. He's not going to be allowed. Oh, he is. Well, that's a mistake. That's a huge mistake by Joe, actually. He somehow missed it. He did have a catapult even there, and he just missed the town center altogether. I mean, like, wow. Right now, this is going to be a bit harder for him to take down. He should still be able to, but this is a major setback and potentially bit of a chance for more. Yeah, well, anyway, let's have a look at the top, where of course there's a bit of an attempt yet again to get some transport ships going and transport right into the middle of the enemy base. That's exactly what he's attempting to do. And well, hopefully for Joe, he's going to be paying enough attention for that a bit more than he was on the right. And the reason that he wasn't paying attention next to the TC, it really might be because he was concentrating on the fight here, which is, at this stage, as important as the one inside the base, the blue player in there. So, pushing forward with a few priests to basically get rid of the potential Colossi. Not anymore, as there is not any temple anymore in here present, and all those barges, they should be easily getting rid of the fortress, and even the extra docks that are attempted to be built. Well then, Miguel right now, right in the middle of the opponent's base, as he's still having at least a few Colossi, or rather, yeah, Colossi as well, but Petroboli. But this was a very nice game, as right now More is seeing that the game is going to be really out for him. And losing this town center yet again, and much more importantly, losing the position at the top is just going to be a bit too much, as the gold is running out, 700 left, and after that is gone, the game is gone as well. Yep, well, good game, very good game indeed. That was the best that we have streamed so far. The black chests, that's because they are having upgrade, and I'm having mod that shows extra upgrades. I think it's funeral rites. Should be funeral rites, if I remember correctly. Well, he doesn't have any extra upgrades, so of course it's that. It's not like it's that different for the Colossi. Yeah, so it's pretty much fair. It's pretty much fair. But I'm still thinking how the game went. And more should have gone for Hera, because he needed more the Medusas to actually turn to stone the elephants. That's super powerful. And if you can micro it properly, it's really strong. Anyway, let's go for the post game. High scores and whatnot overall, as it was a rather cool game, or rather, yeah, cool as well, but I wanted to say long. Yeah, I can see a whole lot better economy, but still the Zeus at 2 TCs, he was so able to hold on against 4 TCs for so long. Pretty similar upgrade times, not really that much of a difference there. But this 7-minute faster heroic, that was strong for the water, but still, More was able to come back with the skillas. They were very strong. Okay then, GG.